Hello, everyone, and welcome to our presentation. This is a presentation called the Able Arts Resource Center, Online Resources to Reach Every Student. I'm Rhoda Bernard, the Managing Director of the Berklee Institute for Arts Education and Special Needs, and I have two colleagues who are joining me for this presentation. Could you please introduce yourselves?
My name is Jenée Force. I'm the Associate Director of Archives and Special Collections at Berklee College of Music.
My name is Yamil Suarez. I'm the Associate Director of Library Systems and Web Development at Berklee.
Terrific. So we're going to talk today about and show you a wonderful new resource for the field. So these are our goals for today's presentation. We're going to acquaint you with this resource center. You're going to know how to use it. We're going to have demos that will show you how to search this clearinghouse of resources in multiple ways. And you're going to know how you can contribute to the resource center in the future. So what in the world are we talking about? The Able Arts Resource Center is an online searchable clearinghouse of resources for arts educators in their work with students with disabilities. And what I love about this resource center, which is brand spanking newly launched as of August 14th, 2020, is that there are many different types of materials. Everything from books and book chapters and articles to PowerPoint presentations, podcasts, web links, lesson plans, everything we can gather in terms of the type of material. A wide range of disability populations, you'll see the long list that's included. Every art discipline, all different age levels, so from birth through adult, and all different kinds of settings, and even micro settings within settings. So not just public school, but elementary, middle school, high school, not just music, but chorus, band, etc., etc., etc. So all different kinds of teaching settings so that you can really specifically search for the resources that you are interested in that will be most helpful for your particular situation. So how did this whole project come about? Here at the Berklee Institute for Arts Education and Special Needs, we have a partnership with an organization called United Sound. United Sound is a peer mentoring organization that makes it possible for people with disabilities to participate in high school music performance ensembles. And Julie Duty is the executive director of United Sound. And she and I were talking one day, and she said, you know, the teachers I work with really wish they had access to more resources. And I said, you know, we work with lots of teachers and they're looking for resources too. And so we cooked up the idea. And at the time it was just going to be music, of establishing some kind of online clearinghouse. So I took this idea to my colleagues at Berklee, and we started with a very early prototype that really focused mostly on music and was in a much more limited keyword searchable platform. We were able, it was kind of cool. This project helped us push an institutional envelope because there were other similar projects at Berklee that were looking for a better home. So together we were able to find a better home in a new platform called bpress. And bpress is an extremely comprehensive platform, and you'll hear from Yamil, our bpress expert, shortly. As we've been building this bpress system, which we've been doing for over a year, I had this dream that we short-named the Zappos model, because I wanted educators to be able to log into our resource center as if they were buying shoes in Zappos, right? So when you go to Zappos, you have that wonderful panel on the left where you say, I want sandals in size 8 that are brown with a low heel, and then everything pops up. So I have this vision in my head of that's what I wanted the interface to be. Well, bpress gets us closer to that than we've ever been before. It's not exactly the same, but boy, because we can search along so many different dimensions, we can really narrow in and get close. So it's very exciting to see this Zappos model come into fruition in real life. Institution-wide, as we adopted BPress, we formed Remix at Berklee. So multiple departments and institutes at Berklee are using this platform. And the platform has a broad-based functionality. It can host clearinghouses, but it can also do things like control and organize the submission process for a journal or a conference. It can also provide faculty members with resources on their web pages that link into the clearinghouses. So there's a wide range of functionality in BPress. We have not yet begun to explore all of those elements at Berklee, and we're excited to do so. So a lot of people have been involved in this project since the beginning. I've got two wonderful colleagues here who you'll hear from shortly. In the beginning, it was myself and Julie. Then we brought in our Dean of Learning Resources and my dean, Darla Hanley, and Joe Bennett, one of our distinguished scholars who has a strong interest in research and also had been working on a submissions process for a conference that he hosts. We started talking about what am I looking for? How can we make it happen? And then we did some due diligence looking for other possible platforms. We were able to attend a session remotely from BPress and decided to adopt the platform. And once that happened, Yamil got to fly to California and be trained by BPress, and Jenée became part of the team. And then Yamil, Jenée, and I began to have very regular meetings and conversations to actually start from LibGuides and move it over into BPress. Over the course of that, some folks in my office have been involved. I had a postmaster's fellow in the 2019-2020 school year, Zoe Gelinas, and she became our subject matter coding expert. And she has since finished her position and is handing off that work to Marlena Markard. And in fact, later today, we're all meeting to talk about that process. And then I have a student assistant who has now become a staff assistant. Her name is Oriana Inferrera, and she has been our sort of big picture coding expert. So not the subject matter details, because she doesn't have that expertise, but the really detail-oriented process of coding. What I'm going to do now is turn things over to Yamil and Jenée, who have some demos that they'd like to share with you.
Thank you very much, Rhoda. I'm going to share my screen so you can see the Able Research Center homepage. So I
don't see. Let me stop my share so your share can. Aha! There we go.
So we heard from Rhoda's grand idea of imitating Zappos. So I researched the capabilities of BPress and came up with my closest approximation, where we are able to mix multiple approaches to finding information. One is usually searching and the other is browsing. So let's imagine a faculty member, a teacher that would like to know if there's any materials that cover visual impairment in their research center. So by just going to the ABLE homepage, which is remix.berkeley.edu/able, and if you scroll down, you'll see these 4 columns that represent the new ABLE Research Center taxonomy. And a taxonomy is a way to organize concepts in a hierarchical list. We then use this list of terms to categorize the content and then make it easier for our visitors to find. So if we think about the teacher that wants to know if we have any materials that cover visual impairment, the teacher could go down our column labeled diagnosis, and we have a link down here for visual impairment. If we follow that link, you'll go to a section dedicated for all the content that we have so far added to the ABLE Research Center, tagged with the category of visual impairment. Now, as you can see, right now we have articles, we have books, and website links categorized this way. And over time, as we add more content to the ABLE repository, this list will automatically grow. Now, let me go back to the ABLE homepage. Let's imagine a different teacher that would like to know if we have any contents related to dyslexia. So again, a teacher can take another browse-centric approach, go to our ABLE taxonomy, and again, under diagnosis, we do have an entry for dyslexia. So if we click on the dyslexia link, again, we're seeing all the content so far tagged with the concept of dyslexia. But then a visitor could further down this list by going to the search form on the left of the screen. And if you type in the word, let's say elementary, we're going from 15 lists of items on the dyslexia. But if I search elementary, I notice that this drop-down menu says in this series. So I'm just gonna search within the dyslexia series. And now we're down to just one item of content at this point in time. In this case, by looking at the publication field, I know it's a website link. So if I click on the title, you will see more information that we've collected about this particular website that is tagged to cover both dyslexia and elementary methods. And on this big link on the upper right is a way to actually visit this particular website. So let's imagine another research scenario. Let's say we have a teacher that wants to know if the ABLE Resource Center has any lesson plans. So to do that type of browsing search, I would have the faculty member, hopefully the faculty member will know to scroll down to this list of the formats that we so far have accepted in the ABLE Resource Center. As you can see, we have listed audio formats, books, but in this case, the teacher would want a lesson plan. So we click on the lesson plan link. And at this point, we have collected about 5 lesson plans. Now, if you happen to click on the title of the lesson plan, you'll see the collected information we have so far on this particular lesson plan. And here you'll see in this field called the ABLE Resource Center terms, these are the taxonomy terms. So you can see what other topics this particular lesson plan, the ABLE Resource Center staff felt applied to this lesson plan. Now, this particular lesson plan has secondary content and worksheets that could be downloaded from these red links. And here you can get a preview of the PDF of this lesson plan. Now, the link to download this particular lesson plan is, again, this big blue link on the upper right. Now, so far, I have shown several browse-centric approaches to find information within the ABLE Resource Center. Now, let's imagine a teacher that just wants to see if we have content from an author called Ryan Horrigan. I hope I am pronouncing that last name correctly.
It's pronounced Harrigan, but that's fine.
Harrigan, great. So from within the ABLE homepage, again, we have this search field on the left. And since I've tapped it before, I'll put in the search, but notice a drop-down menu. And in the ABLE homepage, it is set to search in this collection. This is a way they can use search all items in the ABLE collection at once. So I'm going to proceed with that search. And like it's can happen often in simple keyword searches, you can get a lot of hits, which can be very overwhelming. So far, we have 21 hits under the last name Horrigan. Now, one feature that BPRS has that's quite helpful in this situation is it provides facets, which are these links on the left. This facets links allow us to narrow down the 21 search results even further. Now, one of the choices is keyword, and that means that the result results are matching terms that are often from the ABLE repository taxonomy. We can facet by publication year, and further on we have what's called the publication facet, and we set up the publication names to explain to our visitors the format of the particular search results that you're seeing. So if this last teacher wanted to know if there were any articles from this author, you will go to the publication facets section, and I see a little number 4, so it's giving me a heads up that I will narrow down my 21 search results to only 4 search results. So from 21, I'm able to narrow this down to just 4, and I could Now, add a second facet. For example, I can click on the keyword facet for autism, which has a little number 2 next to it. So it's only telling me I narrowed down from 21 search results down to just 2, which are listing the last name of the author. I'm already was able to filter down to being only articles, and now I added a term from the able taxonomy, which is autism. Now, at any point, if you change your mind of the facet use, there's X's next to each term, so I can undo the autism facet. And for example, I can click on this more link within the keyword facet section, so I can see even more matches just within the original 21 results for the author's last name. So I feel we've been able to provide a very close approximation to the original idea that Rhoda had for imitating a shoe buying experience. And over time, we will expand the content that is showing up in this research center. And it will be done automatically by some of the features built into the BPRESS platform.
Thank you, Yamil. I'm going to take the screen back. I think I do. Here we go. And let me we can skip the demo slides because we did them live. Don't get a headache, folks. We're getting to where we are. So what happens next? We want to grow the Able Arts Resource Center. In addition to what's already out there, we want new things. So we are forming an editorial board that is going to be soliciting materials and conducting peer reviews so that they can be included in the resource center. So you'll hear from our editorial board members about materials that we can solicit. We will also be soliciting more existing materials from authors, teachers, artists, and members of the community, and looking again for new items. We have also made some connections with other clearinghouses and other bunches of information and materials. So we are already connected with VSA. VSA at the Kennedy Center has a wonderful set of resources. We've made a connection there. Their materials are included. Arts Bank, we're in the middle of talking with them about making a connection with their materials. They've got a lot of lesson plans, which would be really helpful. And then there are 2 staff members at the Berklee Institute for Arts Education and Special Needs who have done the Meta Fellowship in Massachusetts and have developed a project where teachers are uploading their own lesson plans to work with diverse learners. And so we are hooking up with them to include those materials as well. The Able Assembly Conference is going to have proceedings, and the proceedings from the conference will also be a part of the Able Arts Resource Center. So how do you get here? How do you access this? This is live now, ready for your use. A couple of ways. You can go to remix.berkeley.edu/able. You can be at the Berklee Library site and go to it from there, or you can go to the professional development section of the Berklee Institute for Arts Education and Special Needs website, and there's a link there. We are going to be spreading the word far and wide about these resources. One reason why we really wanted to launch in August of 2020 was to have the resources out there and available as teachers are starting their school year. And we're really excited to share it with all of you so that you can then share it with other folks and make this more a part of your practice and become involved in perhaps serving on the editorial board and or submitting materials. We want to thank you for your time and attention, and please don't hesitate to reach out to us if we have any questions. If you have any questions. Thank you all very much.